What are you hearing out there? I know that you deal with employers. I know that you deal with people. It seems like the labor market right now is wide open with opportunity if you're looking.
Well, it's a great time to be looking for a new job, and it's a hard time to be an employer who's trying to hire. There's so many different conditions. Plus, there are employers who are letting people go. So there's still layoffs going on,
Hmm.
and that's taking people by surprise. A lot of those layoffs happen to be at a much higher level, but we're seeing millennials losing their jobs, Gen Z, no matter what industry they're in. I think some of the companies are still going through a tough time.
Hmm.
And the vaccine mandate, ooh, wow. There are many people that only feel comfortable if the vaccine mandate is in place. That's the only way they're going to come back to the office. And then there are those people that are like, I don't need to get vaccinated. I can do whatever I want,
Hmm.
and you can't control me.
Hmm.
The unfortunate part, 95% of the people in the hospital right now have not been vaccinated, and some of those are in very critical condition.
Mhm.
So we've got to pay attention to people getting sick, and employers got to be careful.
A couple of interesting things that you brought up there. One of the things that jumps out at me is, and nobody's talking about this, that there are still layoffs happening out there. We keep hearing about how this job market is great right now, and that, why are we still giving benefits? People aren't struggling. There is some struggle.
Yes, very true. In fact, this week I talked to 5 different people at all levels that had lost their job. And a couple of them were very shocked. One company is in big trouble. You're talking executives, they're being let go. You're talking, beginning employees with a couple years of experience. But a lot of industries and a lot of companies are still experiencing a really tough time trying to adapt to all the changes. And a lot of their industries got hurt really badly when COVID came in and business stopped for a long time.
Mhm.
So that's what's happening now.
So, Robin, I want to ask you, if you are a real go-getter right now, let's say your job is fine, it's safe, you're working, everything's going great, but the company where you work has had a lot of people who have left for other jobs because a lot of people are mobile right now. They're going to other positions, and you've always had ambitions to move up. How good is this environment for you right now? I know that you're very close to this on the employer and the employee side. How good of an environment is it for the go-getter who really wants to get in there and go, hey, boss, put me in. I want to move up.
So there's a couple of answers to that. The first one is if the employer has the opportunity to move you ahead, they probably will, for fear that you'll quit and they can't find somebody to take your role. But there's a couple factors there. One of the things that I see, and it's not fair, but what happens is the employer says, oh, we'll give you a new title, we're going to give you more responsibility, but we're not going to give you any more money.
Hmm.
So there's no salary increase. And keep in mind, the biggest salary increases happen when you quit your job and you move to a new employer.
Hmm.
Let me give you an example. My career counseling client that I worked with last week wanted to move to a new job, interviewed with them, was very careful, followed the advice about not sharing the salary that person was making, got a $20,000 increase to go to the new job.
Hmm. Wow,
So
that's a
that's the
significant
kind of
bump.
things, yeah, this is the kind of things that are happening out there. And so it's a hard time for employers. And if they want to attract really good talent, they got to pay. If
Mhm.
they don't up their salaries, they're just not going to be able to hire anybody.
So let me ask you about that then. Let's say you're still that go-getter employee. You see some possibilities within your organization. You say, boss, put me in. I'd like to take that position. Let's say they do say, yeah, we're going to give you that position, but we're not going to give you the extra money that you would expect to go along with that. Do you bide your time? Do you go ahead and go, okay, I'll do that position, and then I'll go look elsewhere for that same position to see if I can make more?
I say take the promotion, it'll look good on the resume, and immediately start job hunting. Because if
Mm.
you're going to have to work harder and take on more responsibilities, you need to be rewarded for that financially.
Mhm.
And you'll be able to move to someplace else because not only did your boss think you had those skills, so your employer said, yes, let's move the person ahead.
Mhm.
You
I've
can
had,
actually
I'm
move
sorry.
to a new job. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I cut you off. What were you saying?
You can actually move to a new job and it's a promotion at the same time. So it's at a higher level and the salary increase is going to be significant.
Mhm. I've had that stare down before with new employers where they do ask that question. And it made me think of it when you said it, what is your salary now? What's your salary history, et cetera, et cetera. You said, do not give that away. A lot of people have a really hard time not answering that question because they feel rude by saying, I'm not going to answer that.
Well, I have a trick, and my trick works really well. You go to payscale.com and you look up what's your job title, how much experience you have. You can look in your region and it'll give you a range. So let's say you're a project manager and the range is between 75,000 and 150,000. And then when the employer says something about, what's your current salary or what are you looking for, you don't answer and say, according to payscale.com, the salary range for this position is 75K to 150,000, and I'm within that range. Now, I haven't learned enough about the job and what you're going to require to determine an exact figure. So how about we table that till after I'm really clear about what you need and, if this is going to be a good fit for me.
That's a really great idea. And you sounded totally friendly and not rude doing that. And somehow, Robin, the reason I threw that out is that I knew that you were going to have a trick for that. And so that's why I asked, because I think a lot of people struggle with that.